everyone. My name is Mira Leno. I'm here with Wuna, who is one of our administrative assistants. She does a lot more than just administration. So thank you, Wuna. And I do a lot of the marketing and operations at Investing Across Borders. And today we have a special day because Shema is actually traveling. So Wuna is going to ask us some questions that she's seen around. And yeah, Wuna, do you want to say a few words and introduce yourself?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Hope everyone's doing a great day today. My name is Wuna, and I'm from the Philippines. And I'm here to just be with you guys and be with Miri as well to talk more, ask questions about the journey of having an E2 process. So, yep.
And Wuna, we're very international. Shema lives in France, and Wuna is actually going to be in Europe starting next week. So, and I'm in South Florida, and Lauren is obviously in South Florida as well. So we're truly international. And I know you haven't met Wuna in this Facebook Live yet, but we, we're trying to show different things and talk about different topics. And we're going to talk about some of the guests that we're going to have. Starting next week, we have a guest, and then 2 weeks after that, we have another guest. So it's very exciting because we have a lot of different content planned for a group so that we can be of service and explain, different types of questions that people have. So Wuna, do you have some questions for us? Do you want to tell me the first one and we'll get started?
I actually have a lot, Mary. So here we go. So what does the timeline look like when it comes to the E2 process?
Okay, so a lot of times with our clients, we try to make sure that, the E2 process, we're there to guide them and tell them about things that they can expect. But a lot of times it really just depends on the client, honestly. And I don't mean to say that it doesn't depend on anything else, but the E2 process, and I think with Shema, we spoke about it. If you don't know anything about the E2 process and what it looks like, go back to some of our videos because we explained exactly what that is. But the timeline is really, we have about a month or 3 months to first determine the business, because an E2 process, you need to have a business invested in the US. So we talked about franchises, we talked about existing businesses, and it takes about 3 months because you want to do your due diligence, you want to make sure that everything looks good. And then after that, then we have a business plan, and that takes about 4 weeks. And the business plan is really somebody from our team actually that's all she does, business plans. So it's pretty awesome. And it's really, we give you a questionnaire, or we give our clients a questionnaire, and they fill it out with the information about, their company and their investment, and whether it's a franchise, business, whatever it is. And we write it for them. So that takes about 4 to 5 weeks. And then after that, we have the submission of the visa. And, that takes about a month or two to get everything together. Sometimes it could be done at the same time as the business plan. But then we have to just wait for the interview. And unfortunately, we cannot do anything about it. Sometimes we're able to expedite some of our clients' interviews. But, excuse me, but it really just depends on when the government decides to give you a date. And then after we apply for that interview, we wait or we expedite, depending on how we can work it out. And then that's it. So the whole process takes about 12 months, if not sooner, if you would get it expedited, because, and really it's just a waiting game. Our part really takes about 4 to 5 months when it comes to finding the business plan, and submitting the documents for the visa petition. But everything else, it's not based on us. It's just the government. They can give you a time 8, 9, 10 months from now, and we're just waiting. So that's really more or less what the timeline looks like. And again, we did a few videos specific about the E2. So go back to see them. They're, in our Facebook group, Canadians investing across borders and immigrating to the US. So it's in there. And also, this is for not just Canadians, but most of our clients are Canadians. So if you want to see about your specific situation, I can't comment on different countries. And Lauren needs to have a specific meeting with all of our clients to make sure that, they can qualify and stuff. So you can always book a free consult, and CJ is going to put the link for the free consult so we can learn more about you, where you're from, what are some of your goals, and see if you qualify for an E2. And then if you do, then we can then set up a call with Lauren so that you can start a program. So, that's pretty much what the timeline looks like. I hope that answers your question. I hate to be so vague, 8 to 12 months, but that's the reality of it.
Like I was trying to imagine as well. You mentioned about an assessment. I was like, wow, is this kind of assessment more of like a disc assessment? I'm not sure. Maybe we can answer that as well.
Yeah, so the assessment that I mentioned is pretty much just an opportunity to talk to our potential clients to see if they qualify, if that's something that they want to do. We do have assessments as part of this process. That I think that's what you were leaning towards. We have a DISC assessment that all of our clients really take, just so that we can get to know their personalities better, because that's going to help us to determine the types of businesses that they want.
Exactly.
We also have a circle assessment, and that assessment is specifically to find the right franchises for our clients. So those two assessments we really we use so that we can really understand more our clients. And it is about to pour all of a sudden. See, this is what happens in Florida. I'm in Florida, and it was a beautiful day until a minute ago. So it's crazy, but hopefully we have a few minutes in our life, so hopefully we'll be good with the internet connection. So Wuna, what was the other? You had another question, right?
I do, yeah. I was just wondering about the expected cost for an E2 process.
Okay, so I hate to say this, that it also depends because it's going to depend on the amount that you invest in a business, right? So some businesses can be more or less, but and then you have to add in the legal fees and the fees that you're going to pay us so that we can guide you through the whole process. So I would say that 150 to 200 is in the low end, but we have other clients that are also investing more than that, like in the threes and 400,000s, and thousands, not thousands. And we also have clients that, because they're moving, they have cash flow from the properties that they have in their home country, and they can use that money to be able to fund the business or to fund the properties, whether they do a business or franchise or real estate, whatever they choose to do and the route they want to take. That's how a lot of them are able to fund. It's not like they have savings from forever. Some of them have savings or in the stock market, or money in the stock market, or money invested in other places. So a lot of times it happens that they just, they sell their house, and because they sold their house in Toronto for like 700, here in Florida, you could potentially find a $500,000 home. I mean, I'm not going to talk about specifics about, how people do it, but the cost is something that we talk about with each one of our clients. So you definitely, if you have not done that and you're looking to understand more or less what the cost is going to be, then we need to talk to you, because these are just approximations and everybody's different. And this is just for information and kind of for you to get an idea, but don't take this literal to say, oh, I need this amount or I need this amount. And also you have to think about processing fees and setting up entity fees and stuff like that. That's just totally separate. So there's three things that you need to take into account. The investment, actually four. The investment, whether it's the business, the franchise, the real estate, whatever it is. Then you also have to take into account the property or where you're going to live if you're looking to move. Then the fees that we're going to help you, because we take our clients from like the very beginning until the end, right? So we help them find the business, we help them with the business plan, and we help them with the visa petition. We connect them to the right people throughout the whole process. It's not like just immigration lawyers that you go to and they help you specifically with getting the visa. We take you with the previous steps. And then finally, so that's the third thing that you have to consider. And then the last thing that you do have to consider as far as cost is that even if you work with one of our legal teams that we work with, you still have to file, like the visa petition, right? So the filing fees are extra. And if you have a family, you also have to pay for your kids. So there's also other things to consider that are just like, it's not a lot, but it does add up. So you definitely want to consult us so that we can give you the right information. Lauren, who's our lawyer, everybody knows Lauren Cohen and loves her.
Of course, yeah.
She makes sure that you know exactly what the process looks like, specifically for the kind of people that that come to us, because it's very personalized. So I hope that helps. I hope people can get a more or less a general idea. That is really the goal, a general idea about what the process looks like. You always want to consult a lawyer. And I mean, we work with Lauren, but we cannot necessarily go into the specifics, because everybody's different. Everybody has to have a personal approach to this, which is what we do. So whenever you're ready, because I know that in this group, there's people that are afraid to take the next step, and we're here to help you. So whenever you're ready, if you're just interested, and this is a free call that for a limited time, we're going to be offering. So take advantage, because we're going to be charging for this pretty soon. So make sure that you, CJ or Wuna is going to put the link, okay? So that you can book a call. We have some openings for next week. I don't think we have any for this week, unfortunately, but for next week we do. And yeah, we hope to speak to you soon. Wuna, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me here. Thanks, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the questions. Great questions. And yeah, next week we have a guest, and she's going to talk about how you can get money from places that you didn't know you had to be able to use them for investments. So if you want to find out more, tune in next week, Thursday. Thursday is when we do this lives. And we also have another guest in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I have to check, that is going to talk about, he's a business broker, I think. So it's going to be amazing, because you're really going to hear from people that are in the field that you need to connect with, so that you can be successful. So I think that's it for us. Wuna, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.